Hello gamers, I'm Ank, and in this video I'm going to share some news regarding Throne and Liberty. As you might know by now, I don't like wasting your time, so I'm going to tell you the main points regarding this news and then I will discuss them in more details for those interested. On the 9th of August, NCSoft had a conference call and these are the main points related to Throne and Liberty that have been discussed. Firstly, combat has been changed from a static, old-school combat to a more fluid combat that has an emphasis on movement, basically allowing movement while casting abilities. And secondly, Korean and global releases will not release at the same time. Global version has been delayed to 2024. Before we begin, as always, I want to thank all the returning subscribers for being here. Thank you. If you are new to the channel, welcome. I cover a variety of online gaming topics, so if you like my content and these could be of interest to you, consider subscribing. Alright, let's quickly recap what we know so far about Throne and Liberty so we can all be on the same page. At the end of 2022, NCSoft announced that they will be releasing Throne and Liberty globally in the first half of 2023. Following this, they signed the contract with Amazon's Game Studio for the global localization. In May 2023, they had a Korean public test beta aimed to collect feedback on various elements. After this, there has been more or less a period of silence from NCSoft. On AGS's side, they set up a website and allowed people to sign up for a technical test that will be held at a still undisclosed date. Other than this, they have not willingly shared any news. Sadly, they didn't bother to announce that the game has been delayed or directly provide any information to the people that have been eagerly waiting for this game. They just ignored the issue. Don't get me wrong, there is no problem with delays happening. It's disappointing when you expect something, but it's the nature of gaming. What I find unprofessional is the lack of communication, despite both companies knowing very well the massive hype this game generated. This also would not have been a problem if they didn't previously state that the game will be releasing in the first half of 2023. Of course, some of us that are looking forward to the game know very well there are other ways to obtain information. Since it's a Korean company, NCSoft is forced to publish updates to their shareholders on what is happening. This is the main method people use to obtain more information, coupled with some of us having a few contacts in the industry. This is how we learned about the first delay and about the news I'm sharing today. So let's talk about this news. The combat changes. NCSoft wanted Throne and Liberty to be the spiritual successor of Lineage, and those of you that played Lineage before would know that it employed a static, old-school combat. So they wanted to provide an old-school combat in an updated environment. There are MMO gamers out there that love this kind of combat, and there are those that hate it. Arguably, there are a lot more people that prefer a smooth and mobile combat than a static one. And after the testing feedback, it seems that NCSoft decided to remove the static element from combat. Personally, my favorite combat is that found in BDO, and I believe it is leagues above everything else, New World being a distant second. So I'm quite happy they decided to make these changes. I know not everyone will be happy with this, especially those old school gamers that were looking forward to the combat the way it was. But just as I said in the past, I urge everyone to give it a try before they make up their minds. As I don't speak Korean, I have to rely on others, but I have been told that these changes are being described in the past tense, meaning they have been implemented, and this means that more or less the Korean version is ready for release, which brings us to the next point. They have decided to release the Korean version before the global version. The new release window for Korea will be the fourth quarter of 2023 and the global version will be sometimes in 2024. This suggests that AGS is not ready. There is a lot of work to be done when localizing a game, especially when they are localizing it in so many languages. But it could also be that they are dragging their feet because they have multiple titles that will be competing with each other. Their flagship game, New World, is going to release its first paid expansion in October. That comes with mounts and a lot of changes, so this might also be a reason. They also have Blue Protocol that has been released in the East, and they have yet to announce a date for our Western release. It is what it is. I'm disappointed to see big companies unable to meet deadlines and incapable of properly communicating with the player base. It also saddens me that playing games in the West always makes me feel like a second-class citizen that is always playing games months or even years after they release in the East. I personally thought that in today's day and age we were over this, but it seems we are not. It seems that Eastern players will always get to enjoy stuff before us. At the end of the day, I know very well that most of us will be willing to try these games out regardless of all these delays, and focusing too much on the negative elements will not do us any good. There are a few other changes that have been implemented, but I feel like they are not worth talking about, like the speed of leveling. Since most Western players did not get to play the game, this will not mean much for us. Another thing that I have seen people asking about is the auto combat, which is an integral part of the game, and as we discussed many times before, it is only people that have absolutely no understanding of the current MMO landscape that have a problem with this, and it is pretty pointless to keep explaining why this is such a positive. So overall, I'm happy with the changes and I'm looking forward to Throne and Liberty even more. Feel free to let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Subscribe and like if you feel like it. See you in the next one, gamers.